diet and eating out a lot and eating fast food. And then I tried to go full keto, full carnivore, full vegan, full plant-based, full anything, full whole food diet on day one. When you put together the right strategy, when you're measuring and tracking what's going on, when you are practicing these things rather than just trying to slap on the very best. Hey there, Dr. Michael Lim here. I just wanted to do a quick game plan training about the best way I'm able to help clients reverse their type 2 diabetes, get their blood sugars under control, eliminate the need for medications across the board. And I want to give you a little bit of that game plan. So if you're here, I know a lot of people come to me and they just say, Dr. Mike, can you just tell me the diet, tell me the supplements, tell me the game plan in terms of daily action steps. And I want to advise people and educate people about what it really takes to get through the finish line in terms of reversing your type 2 diabetes. You see, taking that approach, that tactical approach of just taking supplements, just taking diets, it completely skips over the ability to really get you the best results. And so today's video, I want to break this down and talk about the 6 key points that everybody needs to go through to really go down this process and not just get symptom relief, not just get better balanced or improvement with your blood sugars, but really to get the ultimate goal, which is this: how to rebuild the fitness of your blood sugar system so that you can eat some healthy carbs in your diet, not need medical management, and also not spike your blood sugars through the roof and then recreate the diabetic state. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to make a video about each one of these points in the future. I want to give kind of a 30,000 foot overview of some of the pillars that are so important. So let's go ahead and jump in. Number 1, we need the right strategy. So my best example in terms of strategy is this: everything that 95% of my clients on day one when I first meet them have been doing is a poor strategy. And what do I mean by that? If you've ever catched one of my webinars or live events, I talk about root causes and addressing and correcting underlying root causes of high blood sugars versus what 95% of diabetics are doing, which is just managing symptoms of diabetes. And if all you do is address the symptoms of diabetes with a medical strategy, and don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for these things, but if all you do is a symptom strategy without addressing the underlying root causes, you may be setting yourself up for lifetime medical symptom management. Why? Because whether you're taking supplements or you're taking pharmaceuticals for your symptom, high blood sugars, you're ultimately missing the meat and potatoes of what's creating diabetes, what's driving the progression of your diabetes. So the main thing here, have the right strategy. If you are addressing symptoms and not the causes, like I just said, you're going to keep on going down that path indefinitely, and in most cases, just see yourself get worse and worse and become another diabetic statistic. Now, when you pair the medical strategy, which we need, right? If your blood pressure is over, 160 and your blood sugars are 300-400 plus, your cholesterol's through the roof, you're 50, 60, 80 pounds or more overweight, yes, you can certainly entertain and make sure you get on the medical management. Why? Because those types of levels are a crisis. That's what the medical system is great for. Now, once you have a medical approach and you're not in those levels and you're more stable, now we need to switch over to what I really help patients on, is addressing the underlying root causes, whether it's internal, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's nutrition. And now when we pair these two strategies together, that gives you the best overarching strategy to really create the results that you want with your health and your life. So, number one, strategy. Number two, measurement. It surprises me how many type 2 diabetics don't actually check their blood sugars on a regular basis. They're being prescribed multiple blood pressure medications in many cases and not even checking blood pressure levels. They're gaining weight over time, but for whatever reason, whether it's I don't want to look at the number or I'm frustrated because I'm not getting the results, they won't check weight or blood pressure or blood sugars. And for a myriad of reasons, if you're part of that conversation, I hope that something I'm saying resonates with you and kind of makes an impact. But number two is we got to measure. It's very hard to manage. It's very hard to improve that which you don't measure. So whether we're in the world of fitness and you do a test on day one to see what you can do and then build a plan from that, whether it's 12 weeks later and you retest your strength testing, whether it's testing your weight, testing your blood sugars, testing your blood pressure, getting blood work done with your doctors, getting blood work done with a functional medicine doctor like myself. We got to have the measurements. Otherwise, how do we really know if we're moving in the right direction? How do we know if we're correcting the underlying root causes? And how do we know that you've improved based off of your baseline? So number two, we got to make sure a good system is in place for you to track and measure the most important things about your health, and also tracking the most important things that tell you you're actually getting better towards reaching your goals. And a big one that I didn't mention, of course, testing your blood sugars, right? Your glucometer, your constant glucose monitor, all great ways to do measurements. All right. Number three, once we have a right strategy and the right approach, you're on the right path and you're measuring what's going on. You take some measurements where you're at. Now we need to implement some practices. Now, this is where most people get it wrong. They take on the very best approach on day one and inadvertently set themselves up for failure. Here's what I mean. I like to use a lot of fitness analogies. So let me give you this fitness analogy. Imagine you went into the gym for the first day. You've never been in the gym before. And then your fitness trainer gives you Arnold Schwarzenegger's workout when he was at his prime. 3 hours a day workout, 6 days per week, 12 lifts in each session. If you tried to attempt that workout on day one, you'd almost guarantee yourself to fail, be so sore the next day you want to quit, or you might even injure yourself and be forced to quit that plan. And what I see in the functional medicine space or nutrition space, diet space, supplementation space, lifestyle space is that in a similar way, people are jumping or trying to jump into what's best on day one. And just like the Arnold analogy, setting themselves up for failure because they have not gone through the beginner steps and basics and practicing and even simple stuff. Where do I even buy that food? I've never even heard of probiotics. And just simple little things. Now, if you're watching this video and you've done some research online, that's probably not you. I'm sure you have some basic understanding of what I'm saying. But the point being is this: once you have a plan, make sure who's ever coaching you, whatever doctor's leading you, they're setting you up for success. And success doesn't look like jumping into the best on day one. It looks like getting started with wherever you're at and then building a plan to get you to the very best over time, but not expecting. It would be delusional for me to walk in and think I'm going to lift weights like Arnold Schwarzenegger on day one. And if I was personally doing the standard American diet and eating out a lot and eating fast food, and then I tried to go full keto, full carnivore, full vegan, full plant-based, full anything, full whole food diet on day one, I'm not going to be practiced on how do I cook these foods in a way that I like them? Where do I shop and buy these things that fits my budget? How am I going to get in a routine that fits my busy schedule. Some things that I really want you thinking about is practice, and that's also kind of tied in with strategy, right? The best strategy is start with where you're at and build from there. Don't jump into massive leaps, okay? Oftentimes sets you up for success. Next one, accountability. Even Michael Jordan, throughout his entire career, regarded as the best basketball player who ever lived, still had coaches, still had people that could see his blind spots, still had people, fitness coaches, of course, the head coach, of course, training coaches, technique and shooting coaches. Why? Because even if you're the best ever who ever lived, you still have room for improvement and you still have blind spots. So accountability is not just having someone stand over you and, like in grade school and, make sure you're forcing you to do something. It's really, accountability is a blessing, because even if you're the best, you're going to have blind spots, and you're not always going to be thinking about what are the next steps of improvement while I'm focusing on practicing my daily habits. You see? So this is how it comes together for a nice plan. Number 5 is this: repeat and optimize. So what we really want to do is we want to repeat after we retest. So remember, measurements are so important. After we go through some practices, after our coaches and our accountability partners help us get some progress, then what we want to do is reassess our strategy, reassess the testing. Where are we at? And then we want to optimize our plan from there. So again, coming back to another fitness analogy, as a beginner, your fitness coach should give you your first 6 to 12 week plan. He's going to test you on day 1, go through the plan for 6 to 12 weeks, retest you, and then based on your progress and based on where you're at, he's going to repeat the process for another 12 weeks, right? That's called progressing. It's called switching it up. So at that point, after retesting, he's going to give you a new plan, a new approach, a new strategy. He's going to remeasure. He's going to give you new things to practice, new exercises to do. And it's no different in the diabetic functional medicine space of getting you to the point of reversing diabetes. We're going to go through the beginner plan, get you to that point, retest, and then from there, pivot, optimize, give you a new plan, rinse and repeat. This is why I call it rebuilding the fitness of your blood sugar system. If you're a type 2 diabetic, it means you weren't born with diabetes. It means at some point your body was dysfunctional, broke down, and then you got diagnosed type 2 diabetes. So I want you to really get this, because if you think about reversing diabetes as more about a process of rebuilding the fitness of your blood sugar system, as opposed to treating your diabetes with some pill, with some supplement, with some diet plan, then you're really going to get the strategies and the mindsets that have been extremely successful for my clients in being able to get their A1Cs back under 6 and be on no blood sugar medication, get their blood pressures back under 130 with no blood pressure medication, rebuilding the fitness of your cholesterol metabolism so that you can have normal cholesterol levels without statins and cholesterol medication, which, by the way, if you didn't know, all those medications come with side effects. And it just so happens most blood pressures and most statins, one of the side effects is it makes your blood sugars and diabetes worse. So I'll leave it at that. When you put together the right strategy, when you're measuring and tracking what's going on, when you are practicing these things rather than just trying to slap on the very best, when you have accountability and someone who can lead you through the next steps and show you some blind spots and show you areas of improvement, and then let alone a part of accountability in the functional medicine space is you want to work with a doctor who can actually test you and give you the proper analysis and the proper diagnosis to address the underlying root causes. And then last but not least, someone who's going to retest you, prove the progress, see where you're at, optimize your plan, and then put you on the next plan going forward. So it's a process of reversing type 2 diabetes, and that's what I really want to get across today, as opposed to some magic supplement, magic wand, magic procedure, magic woo woo, that's going to reverse your diabetes. With that being said, I hope you learned something. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'm going to start jumping in and sharing a whole lot more information about how I help type 2 diabetics. So go ahead, click subscribe. I'm excited to get this journey going on social media, getting the content out there. And I really want to just kind of give away everything that I know in the diabetes space. So stick with me, leave some comments, leave some questions, and that will help guide me on what is the best content I can possibly provide you that's actually valuable and that's actually going to get you some good results. Take care, you guys. I'm Dr. Mike. See you next time.